Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing the Legend Trilogy read-along with the second book in series, Prodigy. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Cordoba Agency series written by Delaney Diamond. The Cordoba Agency is a series of sexy, heart-thumping romantic thrillers. There are 3 books available and the 4th on the way this spring. Book 1, Until Now, introduces Cruz and Shanice. A simple, off-the-books assignment becomes the race of life and death. Cruz's story continues in Book 2, Until Death, when the best laid plans can still go awry in the most terrifying way. Heart Stealer, Book 3, introduces us to Raheem. The last thing he wants to do is play bodyguard to the woman who broke his heart. Book 4 in series will release this spring. The series is available now in print and audiobook from your favorite bookseller. Buy Delaney Diamond's audiobooks direct and get up to 50% off. Visit DelaneyDiamond.com to take advantage of that Authors Direct audiobook discount. The link is also in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this book discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or joining us over on the Book Clubs app. Talk about the series with us as well as other bookish topics. I hope to hear your thoughts on this book discussion. You can always find us on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now on Patreon. Join us there where we get even more candid with podcast after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. You can also show your support by utilizing our sponsor offers. Go to shelfaddiction.com/support and see all of the current promotional offers. Before we get started, I have to issue a spoiler warning. This is a book discussion, so nothing is off limits. You've been warned. Welcome back to another fantasy series read-along discussion. Today we are talking about the second book in the trilogy called Prodigy. That was a mouthful. Yep. Joining me is my fantasy series read-along co-host, Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay, I'm glad you're here because we got some stuff to talk about today. Yes, but before we do, we're going to give you the stats and the synopsis as we do. So Legend. Prodigy was published January 29th, 2013 by Putnam Juvenile, and the audiobook was published by Listening Library. The audiobook is narrated by Mariel Stern and Stephen Kaplan. The unabridged runtime is 10 hours and 11 minutes, and the hardcover comes in at 371 pages. Casey, would you please share the synopsis?
June and Day arrive in Vegas just as the unthinkable happens. The Elector Primo dies and his son Andon takes his place. With the Republic edging closer to chaos, the two join a group of patriot rebels eager to help Day rescue his brother and offer passage to the colonies. They have only one request. June and Day must assassinate the new Elector. It's their chance to change the nation, to give voice to a people silenced for too long. But as June realizes this Elector is nothing like his father, she's haunted by the choice ahead. What if Andon is a new beginning? What if revolution must be more than loss and vengeance, anger and blood? What if the Patriots are wrong? Dun, dun, dun.
What if they are wrong? Okay, so high level, you know how we do. What do you think when you turn that last page? What was your immediate reaction?
I'm having mixed feelings about this series. And I know this is a totally personal, I'm really enjoying it, but the ages are really, really bothering me to the point where I have to physically change everybody's age in my head. Because the second Day started going, oh, Tess is so cute, I started screaming because she is 13 years old. And I was like, no, we are not sexualizing a child.
And it made it seem like she was growing up and filling out like someone who's 15 or 16.
Like her face lost her baby fat. Her chest was a little bit, it wasn't creepy, but I was like, nope, nope. She's now 16 in my head. She's not a 13-year-old girl.
She was acting full on high school level jealous. Like,
oh, she was.
And
she
the
was
things
insanely
that were
jealous.
coming out of her mouth seemed older than what she was.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, yes, she is living on the streets, so she is a little bit more mature in that sense. Like, she's had a rough life. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, she's a 13-year-old child. And like, it skeeved me out too. And I know we talked about this last time where we're like, June and Day are too young. They're 15. Oh my God, they're so young. And now Tess is in the mix. I'm like, nope. Everybody's a legal adult or 16 plus. Like,
I know.
I can't think about these young children.
I agree with you on that. I really, at some point, almost stopped considering their age at all.
No, I had to like physically just tell myself, okay, Tess is 16. It's fine. Mm-hmm. June and Day, they're 16 or 17 or older or whatever. Like, and honestly, that was part of the reason why I never trusted Razor, the head of the Patriots.
Because he's a full-on adult.
This 40-year-old man is having to deal with all these teenagers and young people who think like they know the world, but they're 15. I don't trust him at all.
And how old was, what's her face?
Cade? She was 20-something.
Who? What was the name?
Cade?
Yeah.
Kaede?
They in the audiobook, they were pronouncing it like, I can't even think, but it was different. It wasn't just Cade. It had like a different inflection on some part of the name. And I'm like, I don't I finished it the other day, and now I'm like, forget it. I don't remember how it's pronounced, so I'm just going to say Cade. But so she was in her 20s, right?
Yeah, because she said she was in the colonies when she was 17, and that was years ago.
So. Okay. Well, my initial reaction was, okay, now what? I mean, to be honest, I was very bored with the first half of this book. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I can't, like, when is the action going to start? Like, I knew, we had talked before about, of course she's going to go back in, or, we had some theories, based on like things that her brother said to her from fighting from within and all these things. And I'm like, well, we kind of talked about not wanting to see them on the road for that long, and we got that was delivered. So I was satisfied with some of the things. Yeah. But just high level, I was kind of like, meh. I was like, it's fine. Do I love this? No, I don't. But it's entertaining enough once the I guess the meat of the story gets going, which unfortunately the author takes a very long time. She takes her time getting to it. So, meh.
Luckily, at the very beginning, I was worried we'd see a lot more of them on the train. We only got like half a chapter of them on the train before they're in Vegas. And then, half a page or 2 pages of them wandering around Vegas when it says like, oh, we've been here a week. And I was like, thank God you cut this down a bit.
I know, in that scene where June and Day, they're acting like June's the prostitute. I'm like, okay.
Again, they're 15. And I'm like, nope. They are much older than 15.
Yeah. I'm like, what prostitutes? Well, I'm sure there are situations where you have younger people out there doing stuff, but I mean, it really didn't fit. They both look young. They don't look like adults.
They're both 15.
Yeah.
And everybody acts like they're much older and they can get away with everything. And it's just, no.
Yeah.
So they're older in my brain. Like that was my fix. Everybody has to be older in this book.
Yeah. I think, is this the series they're going to make into a show, or was it a movie?
I think they're last November. we saw an article posted that they were going to turn this into a TV show, but they are making everybody older for the TV show. And I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah, they have to age them up. And I feel like the article even told us the ages. I think it said like 18 or 19 or something. I think it was,
yeah, which is good. Like, that's the age they need to be for the story.
Honestly, I would be okay with them aging them even a little bit more. Like, say, 20 and 21. Giving us a little bit more grit.
That would be nice.
Like, really, not to just outright change the book, but change the book. Like, if you're going to make some significant changes, make it count. You know, you want to grab, yes, this was a very popular trilogy, 10 years ago, right? 9 years ago. But when you're making stuff for TV, you're thinking about people that have not read the book, and you want to grab a lot more audience than teenagers, or teenagers at that time who are now adults that have adult taste. So you have to age them up a lot and give them a lot more dramatics and, you know, things like that. So I don't know. We'll see what they could do. But they've got a long way to go to transform these books into something that adults, even 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds would find appealing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good for its audience. And I think I said this last time, like, I would absolutely 100% recommend this to young teenagers who are 13, 14, 15. Like, this is the perfect series for those kids. I don't think I would recommend this to adults or even people in their early 20s unless they want something a little lighter and softer.
Yeah.
We're used to grittier stories. We want that grit. We want that angst. We want all of the drama, but with, you know, not baby-faced teenagers.
No. And I mean, to be fair, when I was reading at the height of my YA dystopia reading, I was like in my early 30s. I was like 30, right? But I was enjoying it because I guess that was just the zone I was in. But when it was done, right? Yeah. I really didn't gravitate to those type of books after that at all, barely. I barely read them. And I think this falls in that category. If I was reading this like on the tail end of Hunger Games and Divergent and all the other ones I was absorbing 10, 11 years ago, I probably would have loved this book. I might have had a different opinion on it than I do now, to be fair.
Oh, for sure. Like, I read the first book 10 years ago and I loved it. And I always meant to come back to it. And I think I would have enjoyed this book a lot more 10 years ago. Because that was sort of the vibe, that was the genre, that was, you know, it's a good book. It's just not what I want to read right now. And, you know, aging everybody up in my mind helped me enjoy it a lot more because it wasn't creepy, because it was like, okay, yeah, no, these are teenagers doing their thing. I wish there was a little less insta love. I wish there was a little less jealousy, but, you know, 16-year-old girls are going to be jealous.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You mentioned insta love. I'm like, okay, well, I guess maybe on Day's half there was insta love, but June wasn't quite. I think she liked him a lot.
She did.
She really likes Aiden or Adam, whatever his name is. The prince. Auden, I don't know. She really likes him, and you could tell she likes him. And I'm like, well, honestly, I didn't really feel the connection between Day and June. I didn't feel it at all. And I'm like, well, maybe they're not supposed to be together.
I mean, that would be a fun twist, because typically you don't have that kind of twist. I really appreciated the fact that, in the first part of the book, I don't remember if it was chapter 2 or 3 or whatever, when they're making out in the bathroom and Day's like, I love you. And June's like, do I love you back? Do I just feel like I owe you?
Right.
Why I want to be with you, but is this actually love?
She like, I don't know, so I'm not gonna say nothing. Okay.
But then, the last chapter, the last page, they're kissing each other goodbye. And she's like, no, he's my everything. I do love him. He's my
Dramatics.
sun and my moon. I was like, oh my God, you are such a teenager.
That's some bullshit. I'm like, in 2 days when you hanging out with the prince guy, or whatever his role is now, the priest, not precept, whatever. Oh God.
Primo elector.
Yeah, when you're hanging out with him, spending all your time with him, day is gonna fade.
Mm-hmm. Because you've really only known him like a month. You're gonna spend the rest of your life with this politician guy.
Yeah, and you think he's cute. And I saw that coming in the first book when he like kissed her. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Here goes another.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a triangle, and I guess it's gonna be like what, a 2-sided triangle? Because on this side he's got Tess swooning after him, and on this side she's got Aiden. I don't know. Good Lord, me and names. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry,
but I will be furious if she kills off Day just to close out that love triangle and push June in with the politician. Just be like, all right, it's done, it's over. She had her time with the rebel and now he's dead and everything's good and happy. Like, no, that is such a cop-out writing, storytelling thing. Like, I hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna do it just because, I feel like The Hunger Games was the only book the only trilogy, in my opinion, that kind of went against the grain with the happy endings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like so many of these books, they may not be skipping off together, but they've defeated the bad. They skip off on their own way or together, or, no one really dies. Not really. No one, the main characters don't die.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling she hasn't gone against that grain. I mean, it would surprise me if she did. How it feels right now, I mean, because Cara Day, I think that's how they pronounce it. Cara Day? Cara Day? I don't know. That's how the narrator pronounced it. When she died, I was like, oh, they killed her. But she was like, not a major character. She came around here and there. She's like a secondary character.
She was definitely a secondary character, but she was such a chameleon in the fact that she was everything June and Day needed in that moment. Because remember back in first one when she was a bartender and then she was the fighter, and like she was just the, what I call as an editor, the cardboard cutout of just the character who's there to push along the main characters. Like she had no no real agency in her own life, because she's just appearing whenever they need her.
Yeah, and giving Day a clue that Tess may like him, and suddenly, I know how to fly this helicopter.
Yeah, I'm from the colonies and I can fly this jet. Like, okay, and you were bartending in Los Angeles and fighting because
right.
But now you're in Vegas. Now you're like kind of the right-hand man for Razor, who's supposedly, the head of the Patriots. And
yeah, she seemed pretty far down the food chain to suddenly be the right hand,
But she was there. And that's what I would call a cardboard cutout character who's literally just there to help move along the main characters. And she changes depending on what they need, from bartender to fighter pilot. And now she's not useful anymore, so let's kill her off. Be done with her.
Well, I wonder sometimes, like, I guess she doesn't really need her. You're right. The author doesn't need her character anymore, but I'm sure she wanted to have something that was impactful or something. Yeah. And that was a good throwaway character. Like, it's fine. Because guess what? She can create, as you say, another cardboard cutout, right? We can find another one to finish out this book. The series. Or trilogy, not really a series. But because it's hard to believe, like, there's only one left. And so while this one was a lot longer than the first one, and I guess the second half, the back half of the book, a lot of things did happen to push the plot forward.
Yes.
So it's going to hopefully be a breakneck speed on the third book to get everything done. But maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I could see it going really, really slow, except for the fact that Day is dying because he has that chip or something implanted in his brain.
Unless there's a miracle and he lives.
Unless there's a miracle and he lives. But I don't know. It feels...
And he didn't even tell her. So it's that whole... why is Day not wanting me? Why didn't he want to try to be with me? And then somehow she's going to find out about the chip. Mm-hmm. It's going to be this whole thing. And then he's going to live anyway. I feel like he's going to live anyway. I
hope so. Like, I truly hope he lives. And I kind of want them to be together at the end. Like, I think that would be really cute. Is it realistic? No. But again, I'm aging everybody up in this book. So what is realistic anyway?
I don't know. I don't feel the chemistry. I don't feel it at all. Like,
I think it's there for me, but it's like, I think it needs to grow a bit. I want them to, like, go off on their own and spend some time together, just being happy and not running for their lives. Because there's a lot of, adrenaline rush kisses that they share.
I don't think that's going to happen because, okay, so if we think about what needs to be done in the third book, right? So Andon, that's his name. Got it finally. Andon.
Okay.
Now he's kind of got the one up as far as the power, but the council is still going to be trying to take him down. Like, they don't want him. Yeah. They still have to deal with the colonies that don't want them to be, there, thriving, separated. So there's a lot of drama. And in the midst of that, I do feel like June is going to be all up in Andon's face. Like, they're going to be falling in love as well or something. She's going to be constantly like, oh, Dare or Andon. I don't know. That's what she's going to be doing for most of the book. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it would be a cop out to put them together in the end. I want something different for them. But I want them both to live.
Interesting. Yeah. Would you like to see Tess end up with Day?
I don't know necessarily. I think I would be okay with her finding someone else and getting over him. Like, meh, we could go back to being, cousins, as, he calls her cousin or whatever. Yeah. Maybe he goes off on his own with his brother in the woods, in a house in the woods. That would be
nice. The two of them need to spend some time together.
Yeah. I don't know, but I just don't want them together for some reason. I just don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. And I know I am in the minority because people love this couple. But, you never know. Maybe something will happen in the third book that will flip the switch for me or not.
Or not. We'll see.
Or not. Because I do like Andon's character. I like him better than Day, actually.
I don't know if I like him better than Day. I feel like we've seen Day at his worst, and that kind of like doesn't make him look perfect the way Andon gets to be perfect, if that makes sense. But no, I do like Andon, and I get what you're saying. But he gets to be the polished politician who can say and do the right things. His Day, we see him dirty and broken and crying because his family was just murdered, and he's having nightmares because he's traumatized and has PTSD. And so
maybe they can get him a therapist.
Yes, he needs a therapist and a hug and a teddy bear.
Because honestly, if I think about it real hard, I have to, and this might be part of the reason why I don't want them together, is that Tess actually made some valid points when she confronted Day about
she
June.
Did. Yes.
It's like, she might not have killed your mother directly, but she had something to do with it. It was her leading them there, and that she got murdered. So it's like, and you just give her a pass. You don't even, and she said, did she even apologize? You know what I mean? So she did later, but she hadn't up until then. She hadn't taken any responsibility for it. Not really.
No.
So there's a lot of reasons why they should not be together.
Yep.
So I'm like, Tess got a point. Even though she's 13, she got a point.
She does have a point, and it was a very valid point. Like, he was forgiving June for everything and not really addressing it in his own mind, which he needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Oh, someone else. You know how I called it two opposite love triangles? Someone called it a love square. A love square.
Yeah.
Disappointing and irritating, someone says.
I don't think you're in the minority as much as you think.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I was just scrolling before we got on. I was scrolling the 3-star reviews because, you know, I've said this before. I don't necessarily gravitate toward the 5-star reviews because a lot of the times they can't be trusted, or they're people that just love everything.
Yep.
And the 1-star reviews is like polar opposite of that. They hate everything.
Yep.
So I tend to look at the well-written, several paragraphs long 3-star reviews because it gives you positives and negatives. So when I see, that's usually where I go to trust of, you know, what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes the 1-star reviews can be good, like in other genres where they're like, oh no, it's too many curse words, too much sex and booze. I'm like, all right, one click. I want this book.
I know.
I want that gritty kind of writing.
I know. That's like preference, right? That's personal preference. That's not saying if the book is good or bad. That's just you don't like it. I'm like, more cursing? Great. I'll take it.
More cursing. Let's do it.
Stabbing, murdering. Let's do it. Yeah. Which there wasn't even that much of that in this book. Not really. You know, outside of the death. And of course, you have like some of the fighting going on in the bomb that they set off. But it wasn't really gritty. Not really. I
mean, for a young teenager who's never read urban fantasy or dystopian, I think it's gritty for them. But we have surpassed that by so much that we're like, oh, this is like baby play. Oh, let's punch somebody. Let's kick them in the liver.
It's baby war. It's not the real war. It's baby war. But I did find, I think the most interesting part to me, which unfortunately was the smallest part of the book, but when they actually got into the colonies, like the time they spent in the colonies, I was like, that was interesting. I was getting all kind of like Feed vibes and stuff. You know that book Feed, where like you can kind of just see ads everywhere, and companies are the ones that kind of like sponsor people. Those things are happening in that book. And I'm like, oh, that kind of feels like that. This is the futuristic side of it. It feels more futuristic on this side of the wall. Yeah.
No, it was really interesting to finally get kind of that worldview aspect of what's going on in America, because there was one part where he saw a world map for the first time, and then he saw the news channels from around the world, and how I think it was the UN was actually giving the Republic aid because they're so poor. And that made me laugh a little. But seeing the colonies and just how capitalistic they were, and how you're sponsored by your job and the company, and if you stay out past a certain time, your boss company person will get angry and like dock your pay, and you have to pay the police to help you. And it was wild.
It seems like each company has like its own set of
rules,
I guess company culture, right? So like that one scene where the woman, she called the police because her apartment had been robbed and she needed help, and she couldn't pay the police for help.
Yeah.
So they were like, well.
Bye. See you later.
But help me, please. And they're like, what company do you work for or whatever? Where, and she says, and they say to her, well, that company, I don't remember the company's name, they don't approve of people being out past curfew or this time or that time. So, and like there was a scene earlier when Day and June first and someone approached them, and what company, and June spits out one that she saw. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're in the wrong area of town. You got it wrong. Have you not gone for She's like,
Yep.
you got something. Yeah. Anyway, and then she spits out her what company taglines or whatever they sell. It was so weird. I'm like, it gave me all those futuristic type vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the opposite of everything in the Republic.
Yep. I thought it was really interesting that both sides also like truly hate refugees. Because June would talk about how if anybody crossed over, the military would go hunt them down and kill them. But if anybody went over to the colonies, they'd kick them right back out or killed them or did something. And I'm like, that's such an American. Yeah, let's hate the refugees, even though we're all Americans.
Yeah.
Let's hate each other.
I mean, at least the colonies had like a refugee camp, at least, where they would it seemed like they put them through some kind of process. And if they were wrong or something was wrong with them, they would shoot them back over there. Like, get out. We don't want you for whatever reason. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, they even told the story about how they wanted to go west and they built a wall to keep them from going west. So the Republic was like, F you, don't come over here. They boarded themselves off. And then they started so the colony started building the tunnels. Yeah. And then the opposite started happening. People from the Republic were like, we don't like it over here. We want to go east. And then they were like, screw that. We're going to start closing off these tunnels. Don't come back. It's like they couldn't decide what they want to do.
Nobody can decide what they want to do. No. Everybody's falling apart in both sides of America.
Yeah. Lord. I'd rather be on the east, though. I'm not even gonna lie. I'd rather be on the east where I have to pay the police than on the west where I have to take tests and possibly be killed.
Yeah.
For not performing high enough or being poor or whatever.
Yeah. If you can be rich on the West Coast, you're set for life. It's good. It's fine. But
Yeah.
No,
if you're poor, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Well, I guess maybe I might not have anything to worry about because I claim that I'm going to be rich forever. So you can put me anywhere and I'm rich. Okay, I'm rich, bitch, as they say. I'm going to be rich. I refuse because I will not be. I'll be running across those tunnels so fast. I'm telling you. I can't do it. But they make people so fearful of the opposite side that only a certain type of person tries to venture the other way.
Yep.
Propaganda on both sides, really.
On both sides, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what's truly going on anywhere. The UN is trying to help where they can, but they can't really do much of anything. I did like the one line about Africa and how it grew and expanded and became the new world leader, what America used to be. And I was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Something good came of this because all these white people are batshit crazy.
Just
killing each other.
Leave it to America to end up cracking in half, basically, right? Really? Okay. But that seems like what we do even today. Yep.
All the time.
So it's again, these dystopia stories, they tell the same story over and over again. It's we must not ever learn because the inspiration for this came from somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're in the same crazy ass cycle as we were 10 years ago.
I might be on the first plane smoking. If anything start to sound like it's, the world of legend or the world of a lot of these other things like the Handmaid's Tale, I'm on the first thing out of here. I'm not even playing.
I'm out.
I'm I'm sorry. If I'll meet you there. If you could get there, I'll meet you there.
Perfect.
wait for anybody.
That's okay.
Look, at least
I'm deep in
honest.
the South. I know you're close to the Canadian border. You'll get over.
I'll make a run for the border like Taco Bell. I swear I'll be in Canada in 20 minutes. I'm not playing.
It might take me 20 hours to get there, but I'll try to get there as fast as I can.
Yes, that's funny. But that's what these books remind me of. It's like all of them. They all kind of have this bite of reality, which actually makes it more of
terrifying.
A horror.
Yes, it's absolutely terrifying.
Maybe that's why we have to have some love squares and triangles in there to soften the blow. I don't know.
Yeah, to play up the other angst, to focus on the different drama, to focus on, love and hope, and forget that the world has fallen apart and that we're all stuck in this hopeless hellscape.
Oh my God, a hellscape is right. Okay, y'all, you know what? Take a break. We're going to take a break. Get a drink, before you fall into this hellscape.
I got my water right here.
I have my water too. So we're going to take a quick break. Check out the commercials. By listening to those, you are supporting the podcast. And if you feel like using your fingers to click on your phone, go ahead and check out the book review journal and book review notebook, available now on Amazon. Designed completely by yours truly. I even did the cover art. I worked so hard on them. So
cute. I love my copy.
Oh, thanks. All right, guys, check those things out, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Welcome back, guys. We are back, and we're going to finish our discussion of Prodigy, and we were talking about a hellscape. That is life.
Yes.
And this book.
Can I rant for a minute about something I truly, absolutely hated? I had to put the book down and scream, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
What is it?
No, I was really mad. It's about Thomas and Matthias. June's murdered brother and his murderer, who were somehow in love.
I know. I'm like, where did that come from?
The actual fuck is this?
Right.
No.
Yeah. That seemed like out of left field somewhere. Like,
it does not make sense to who Thomas was in book one, because he was like trying to love on June, and we're like, this is really creepy, right? Yeah. Remember how he was pounding on her door in the middle of the night, begging to come in? Yeah. He was taking her on like dates and trying to kiss her. And I was like, and now all of a sudden she's like, wait, my brother was in love with you. Were you in love with him? You were? And you still murdered him? And I'm like, no!
The drama of it all was high enough. The fact that he murdered his friend, his good friend. Damn near his best friend, seemed like. But to take it one more level
into
like that,
gay, no. I'm all
needed.
For gay representation, but please don't kill off our gays. Please don't make the gays murderers.
I mean,
please don't make it this
like
stupid.
An afterthought. Like, oops, we forgot a gay or lesbian character, so let's make one. It
must have been something like that. Like, it was so. Just no, God, no. I don't want. It would have been fine if Matthias was gay and in love with somebody else. But the fact that he was in love with Thomas and then Thomas murdered him.
I know.
And his excuse was it was an order from Commander, whatever her name is, Jamison. Like, no.
I agree with you. That is just too much. I didn't like it either. And I feel like when I read that part, I kind of like eye roll, like, what?
Yeah, it was a pointless addition. It did not make sense. It did nothing to the plot. It didn't change the fact that Matthias is still dead.
Yeah.
Thomas did not need to be his boyfriend. Like,
no.
Yes, Matthias can still be gay.
Yeah.
But, you know, give him a different boyfriend.
Not that.
Make it actually part of the plot.
Right. Right.
Make me care about this in a way that I should not be screaming.
So do you think we're done hearing about her deceased brother now that we got that last little bit of something?
I think she's still going to mourn him a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope this plot line is closed. Like, I hope, well, maybe now that she's back in the, inner circle, she's going to meet Thomas, because maybe he's being pushed up through the ranks. And then she can go to her maybe future boyfriend and be like, hey, you're the ruler of this country. Throw this guy in jail because he killed my brother.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't mind that happening. I mean, because if his whole, game is like, hey, I need you and Day to like kind of help me, support me. I can't make these changes alone. So yeah, It's kind of like favor for favor. So if he did kill your brother, maybe he can't take, I can't take care of it, quote unquote, that would be fun. Actually, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. Like, get rid of him.
Yeah. No, I was worried that he had killed the dog, Ollie. I was really glad when Ollie was totally fine and showed up in this book. I was like, oh, thank God. The dog is safe. Thank you, Jesus.
It was kind of silly, though, how they used. I mean, okay, so he used the dog, not even like as 100% tracking dog, because basically they were told where she was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird. I'm like, I would have been okay with her dog just showing up in her new apartment. Like, they put the dog in. You know what I mean? They kept the dog and here it is. Like, to use the dog in that way was kind of odd.
Yeah, it was odd. But it also made that scene just a little bit more intense and a little bit more emotional, because she was like, oh my God, that's my dog barking. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And then, they break in and take her.
Well, what you're going to do is get apprehended like the plan was. That's what you're going to do.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it was weird to include the dog in that scene. But again, it's also really weird to make that scene be like, oh yeah, Thomas was your brother's lover and then he murdered him.
Yeah.
God, no, please stop.
Did you find any of your infamous plot holes?
Not necessarily plot holes, but there are definitely things that needed to be fleshed out. I think Cade, or however you pronounce her name, was my biggest pet peeve, just because, like I said earlier, she was exactly what they needed when they needed it. Mm-hmm. And really, there was no point to her other than helping them, which is very frustrating, because in real life, you never meet that one person who's just like constantly there. And I know it's hard to introduce a lot of new people and make you trust each new person. And yeah, no, I think she was my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I don't know. I just felt like a lot of the character stuff was kind of flat as well.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like I said, I didn't feel anything between June and Day. I didn't feel it. Mm-hmm. But, the temper tantrum went from Tess and, some other things. But it was just like, overall, it was muted, kind of. I'm like, I guess in the end, the very end, there was some sparks when she thought she was being dumped.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel so bad that I did not love this book. I wanted to at the end of the last episode about this trilogy, I was hopeful. I said I was hopeful.
Yes.
And I wanted to know I wanted to like this. I wanted more. And I feel like while we got a lot of things happening and the book was longer, I still feel like I didn't get the more I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like, even though we are finding these differences from enjoyment, as adults versus younger versions of ourselves, I still wanted to be like, wow, that was really good. That was a building block on top of the first book. Instead, I'm feeling like it's on par with the first book. Like it wasn't better or worse. I just,
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And yeah, I kind of agree too, because it wasn't as exciting as the first book. Like you were saying at the beginning, this was a really slow start. Yes, it was all about the assassination, but even when that was going down, I was like, there's still 130 pages left in this book, and we're at the assassination now. What can you possibly do for another 130 pages? Well, they went to the colonies, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that was longer. But yeah, no, it wasn't better, but it wasn't really worse either. It was the same.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, y'all, I don't have unless Casey, you have some specific points you'd like to point out, I don't have a lot more to talk about with this book. I feel like I said, it was longer than the first book, but it was like each little segment was a whole lot of nothing. Not nothing, but it's hard to explain. Like it was more to read, but it didn't feel like there's more to talk about.
Some cases were necessary. Like there was a lot of moving pieces, whereas before, back in book one, it wasn't as moving, if that makes sense. Because the beginning, they're going they're going to Vegas, and they have to go around finding people, and they have to go on the ship and go to Denver. Then once they're in Denver, then they're splitting up, and everybody's in different places, and we're heading towards this assassination, and so, I mean, I understand why it was necessary. I don't know if I would necessarily cut it down. It was what it was.
Yeah, it was what it was. I mean, it's a bridge, but I almost wonder, just talking out loud here, I almost wonder if they had just made the book one bigger, and maybe the assassination point could have been the cliffhanger, and then just make a second book, like a duology instead of 3 books. I don't
think it would have fit in book one unless it was closer to 500 pages. Because book one was short, but there was a lot more setup towards this assassination that, they had to meet the Patriots, because the Patriots were such a huge influence in all of this. And we needed to, one, trust Razor and believe in him, and then slowly realize, he's
Although I never trusted him.
I didn't either. As soon as they walked into that really fancy apartment, I was like, no way, this guy, nope, I don't trust him. Yeah. He's not working for the colonies. There's no way the colonies have this kind of money just to feed you.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, in case you did not know what was going on in this book. So Razor was actually working for the Republic the whole time. So
he was a senator pretending to be was he a senator, or he was a general or something?
Yeah, he's in their army or whatever.
Upper circles. Right. He's a high level, high clearance guy who was working for the Patriots. He got caught, and then he turned, and they decided to use the Patriots to kill their new prime minister as soon as he got into power.
Right.
And voila.
And try to take power. And of course, it turns out that he wants to be the new head guy. And I'm like, what? This though? Okay. Sure.
I mean, that made sense for me. Because, like I said earlier, he's a grown-ass man.
Or third in command. Like, he seems in my opinion, I could be wrong, but he seems like he's too far removed to actually sit in that seat.
Yeah, no, he's definitely too far removed. But from the point of view of like, why is this random person trying to assassinate the ruler? Oh, he wants to be ruler? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, no, if you think about it logically, there would probably be their election.
If he was on the council, okay, maybe I could see that maybe a possibility. But he's just too dark.
I mean, he was high up. He was the one who was handpicking all of the guards for Andon. Like, he was in that inner circle. So he's not necessarily like vice president, but they don't have vice presidents.
He's like the head of the Secret Service. Who the head of the Secret Service is not going to fucking be president. I don't care how bad he wants it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
someone on the council would be before he is. That's like, it just doesn't seem right to me.
No, that does make sense. What you're saying was right. Yeah, no, as soon as they walked into his apartment in chapter 2 and it was like super rich and fancy, and June was all like, this costs thousands of notes and this rug costs 6,000 notes. And I was like, oh, so he's, a spy or actually working for the Republic or whatever. Like,
yeah, he's getting paid. That's for sure.
Yep. That's why they didn't care about the money, because it was all, being recycled through the government.
Exactly. So, yeah. So I did listen again on audiobook. I enjoyed the narrators for the most part. I was awake. It kept me awake.
That's good.
No one fell asleep. So that's good. I did listen. I listened at my base speed of, I think, 1.5. So it was all good. I was happy to see the same narrators back again. Hopefully they will be in the third installment as well. Just keep the same people. I got used to their voices together. I liked it. It was good. That's actually the best part with the audiobook. I'm such a hater.
You're enjoying it.
I'm such a hater.
If you hated their voices, if you hated the narration, then that would make everything much worse. So.
I mean, to be quite frank, like, I would be so sad if I hated the narrator's voice, because I would have to switch to reading it. And to be honest, I'm way too busy to actually sit here and read a book. So that is why audiobooks have been like my staple for the past year, because I can do a bunch of other things at once. But if I actually have to like sit here and read, I feel like it's taking time away. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll get a different vibe. Maybe I might like it more or less. I don't know. But to me, boredom is boredom. Like, for example, like I said, it was slow in the beginning and I was kind of like struggling with it. But the narrators weren't awful. So I was able to get through it. Without them, I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
Well, there's only one book left, so you have to do those one more time, and then we can run away.
I know, I'll be running away. But I want to say again, I feel like maybe, I don't want to get too excited. I mean, maybe the end could be spectacular, maybe not. I don't know. I want to remain hopeful, but I'm feeling a little less hopeful than last time.
I mean, wanting to remain hopeful is good. We've had some series where we're just like, no, we're done. We hate this. We hate everything. Yeah. And it's, torture to read the next book. So at least we're hopeful. At least you have something to look forward to with the next book. That's really all we can say.
So let's rate the thing. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first. So my rating is 3 out of 5. It's a solid 3, like last time. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. Right in the middle. No excitement. But, it's not bad. And I do recommend it for those. Like, if you're just now if you were you missed the bus. Your head was buried in the sand back during this dystopian
days.
in that era and you're just now getting on the bus, then I think you will like it. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth checking out. But if you've been there, done that, you could probably skip it, honestly.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. 3 stars. Like, it's a really good and solid book. It's well written. Her characters are kind of flat. I wish Kate, or however you pronounce her name, was better, or 3 different people at once.
Yeah.
And like I keep saying, I will recommend this book to young teenagers. Like, absolutely, 100%. If I know any 13, 14, even 15-year-old kids, maybe 16, like teenagers.
Yeah.
Read this book, read this series. I think they will really enjoy it. I think it is absolutely written for them, and it would hit all the right notes for them. And maybe somebody who missed the dystopian ride way back 10 years ago, I might recommend this for you too. Like, it's well written, and I will recommend this to some people. But am I going to reread this? Probably not.
Oh, I know.
Am I going to, rave about it or think about it for the next few days? Probably not. Now that I'm done, I'm going to put it down and go find something else to read.
Oh, yeah. I've already got my next book lined up. So,
good.
Next month, we are going to be talking about the finale, Champion. So we know Day is the legend, June is the prodigy, and who will be the champion? Okay, that is the question on Goodreads. He is a legend, she is a prodigy. Who will be champion? We shall find out. So it sounds like they are back on opposite sides again or something. That's what it sounds like just from that.
Well, he did break up with her.
He did.
So,
I mean, but you can't be a champion if you're dead, can you?
No, you can't.
So we shall see. We shall see what happens. Come back one more time. And even if you don't read the book, come back and hear us talk about it, because, we'll have some stuff to share for sure. And hopefully I will sound much more excited and happy next month. We shall see. Flip a coin. Let me know what you think. And if you've read it, if you've already read Champion and you think there's a chance I might like it, leave me a comment. Give me that inspiration. I think you'll like it. But if you think I won't like it, don't say anything.
Don't destroy her hope yet.
Right. Don't destroy my hope. Right. Okay, so I guess we're done. What do you think, Casey?
I think we're done for today.
All right. It has been a blast. Thanks so much for listening to the episode, guys. We appreciate you for being here. And join us over on the Facebook group or in the Book Clubs app. And you can talk about these books with us live during a book club and get different point of views other than ours.
Yep. And you can share your own points of view. If you really love it, come tell us.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll see you there. And if not, we'll see you right here on the podcast next month. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.